Yeah, that's good. Hello, happy New Year. We have even during 2020 into 2021 now. Whether that is going to be better or worse remains to be seen, but here we are. And yeah, um, and Ireland is in another lockdown. Great start, although this lockdown was implemented around Christmas, so I don't know, near enough, but yeah, lockdown part three. Um, it's just, I don't know, the fact that, I don't know, we were already in level five, and then they they sort of restricted us for us over Christmas to be seen as a bit compassionate, and then case rates skyrocketed again. So I don't know, like it's just it's Groundhog Day. I've said this before, but it's the whole thing is just Groundhog Day, and you know we're trying to adhere to um, well, the new way of living as best we can. I mean, we've been doing it for the last year, doing our own little things, and oh yeah, head shaved again. um, Family getting a bit too trigger happy with the electric razor, so I don't know if I look like a stand-in for Nidge in Love Hate, although they probably need to take off a bit more. Anyway, side note, but yeah, what have we to look forward to in 2021? Biden and Harris are going to, well, Biden is going to be inaugurated on the 20th, and I don't know, Trump has made many attempts to pervert the course of justice, but that's Trump for you. And I don't know, like, people praising Biden to high heaven, oh, he's going to reverse the damage Trump has done. Are people really that naive? Like, I really don't believe that for a second, to be perfectly honest. Like, I mean, like, all these promises that they're making, um, I mean, yeah, no president has had a stellar track record, but I mean, I don't believe for a second that Biden is just going to be this breath of fresh air in comparison. But we'll see. We'll see how they handle it over there across the pond. And yeah, other than that, we'll try not to piggyback too much from my previous streams from the end of, well, I say the end of last year. It was like yesterday was 2020 for fuck's sake, but the streams I did in December, where basically have been talking about upcoming movies, so the sort of continuous delays of a lot of movies. We'll see how further back they get pushed as well. If this trend is set to continue with everything shut. I mean, California has been put into indefinite lockdown, from what I've been told, and like I actually have family over there, so it's tough on them as well. But it's just a matter of making the most of it, really. Try not to get too black-pilled or depressed, but oh dear. But yeah, vaccines are going to be rolled out. Well, they have been rolled out in places already, I think, but like people seem to think, oh, it's a miracle cure. Like, no, like at best it will abate the symptoms, but it's not necessarily going to get rid of coronavirus. In an ideal world, yes, we'd love coronavirus to get the fuck out of our lives, but it is not that black and white. And like even with the vaccine, with a bunch of people vaccinated, I guarantee you that the emergency powers, the lockdowns and everything will not be relinquished. Like, I mean, when has there been any point in history that when a government has achieved such an overreaching amount of power that they willingly relinquish it? I mean, look at the Patriot Act in America. Look at what the Snoopers Charter in Britain. We ain't going nowhere. Very joyous and festive Happy New Year. But in a way I'm kind of being realistic. And like I have said this to friends and family before, that the longer this goes on, it will not just be the anti-lockdown, anti-mask crowd that will be out marching. But then again, you're allowed to have marches if you conform to the status quo. And there's this thing recently about I'm going to butcher his surname now, but what was his name? George DiCecco or something, who got shot down by the guards after he approached them with a knife. And I was worried that that was going to be another Irish Black Lives Matter thing. Like, don't get me wrong, it's absolutely horrible the man was shot and killed, but it's just activists getting a bit too trigger happy, and that was my concern that, well, I doubt very much it'll get to the same extent it got to in places like Seattle or Portland, but I kind of felt like CJ at the beginning of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Oh shit, here we go again. But I don't know. The isolation has it's made most of us unhinged, if I'm being honest. It certainly made me unhinged on a couple of occasions, particularly with all this depressing news. But it was funny, right? Because like coming up to the new year, we have all these New Year specials, programs on like RTE here in Ireland, and had their champagne out. Oh, here's to 2020. Like 2021 will be so much greater, and I'm just like, how do you know that? You cannot be this naive. Like, I'm sorry, but like, and I realise I'm getting a bit too nihilistic here, but realistically, I just see this continuing on, and that's essentially my take on it. And I really don't know. because like what we're doing our best to get on with our lives, we're following all the rules and stuff like that, but like small businesses and everything are being completely fucked, completely destroyed, and all the corporations are coming out it unscathed. Like, I think I touched on this before in the previous stream that, you know, Disney being a monopoly, but it'll be the very same thing for all these major businesses, like Amazon in particular, like Jeff Bezos rubbing his hands together, but you know that's what he usually does, not just in this situation. All the fat cats deflating themselves while a bunch of people are on unemployment pay, and it's fucked. It really is fucked. But I don't know, what else can we do in the realms of civility anyway? We need to comply. We need to flatten the curve. Don't worry, we'll only be at this for 2 weeks. So yeah, here we are a year later. I'm just done listening to the sort of empty platitudes that have been presented by the major figures. I mean, what more can you say, really? He says as he continues to ramble. And yeah, I think I scared everyone off. Sorry. But like, well, feel free to leave comments if you want. Tell me if I'm getting a bit too alarmist, and you know, don't go towards that noose quite yet, Michael. So much to live for, even if you are kind of isolated in this room. But it really is bizarre. Had a couple of other things I wanted to say that, you know, have a bit of lightheartedness to it. There's the whole thing with Frankie Boyle and Ricky Gervais, like, and I will say, full disclosure, I was a big fan of Frankie Boyle when I was a teenager, back when he was on Mock the Week, and back when he was, you know, sort of the king edgelord of the comedy mainstream. But then he got into trouble for a lot of his ugly jokes. His joke about Katie Price's son, his joke about Oscar Pistorius, and you know, he watered his stuff down considerably to be in compliance with the BBC, and as a result, he has his show on the BBC which is basically parroting far lefty talking points, and I just sort of look at that. I look at that and I think, what the hell happened to you, man? But anyway, it's funny because he sort of made well, I say headlines, nobody buys a newspaper anymore, but there were articles and links to stories about his recent interview with Louis Theroux, and he touched on a couple of things that, well, one of them was about Count Dankula, the Scottish YouTuber, who I'm quite a big fan of, that he sort of gave his 2 cents on the whole story about Count Dankula, despite the fact he had been silent throughout the entire thing, and even the words he was using to describe the case was just weasel words, just oh no, he shouldn't have gotten prosecuted for what he said. Just like, well, where were you 2 years ago, Frankie? And like, I do seem to remember that, you were bemoaning the fact that, according to you, the Scottish comedy scene has been taken over by the alt-right, and you're clearly alluding to Dankula there, and he challenged you on this, and you just put your fingers in your ears and blocked them. So it's just kind of the nerve of you sort of speaking up about, oh yeah, he shouldn't have been prosecuted, but yeah, it's just, I'm suffice it to say, I'm no longer really a fan of Frankie Boyle, because they got to him. They got to him, boys. But then he was talking about Ricky Gervais, and yeah, like even back when I was a fan of him, in some of his routines, he would take the piss out of Ricky Gervais, sort of indicating he's not necessarily a fan of him, and was just sort of condemning Ricky Gervais for some of the jokes he has made, particularly about trans people. And I'm just there thinking, yeah, this is the same Frankie Boyle who made unsavoury jokes, like once again about Katie Price's son, and 9/11 and unsavoury things. Like, I defend your right to make those jokes, but it's a classic case of pot kettle black. Like, you really don't have a leg to stand on. So no, that was interesting. I always find it interesting how hypocrisy shows its ugly head one way or another. And oh yeah, people were talking about Wonder Woman 1984. Apparently that's meant to be shit. And like, full disclosure, I haven't seen this film or the original Wonder Woman. I said original, the Wonder Woman film before this, but from what I've been seeing on tweets and stuff, apparently Chris Pine's character, who was the love interest, Wonder Woman gets some random person to be a vessel for the soul of Chris Pine's character, and effectively has her way with the vessel. So yeah, I'm not going to say the R word, because I know how trigger happy YouTube are these days, although that being said, more prevalent in bigger channels, like, but yeah, it's just bad optics. What were you trying to get across there? Women are allowed to sexually assault. But like, it's funny, like the DC universe compared to the Marvel universe, because like, obviously the Marvel universe, like, the last decade has been outstanding for them. They're at a bit of a lull at the moment, but then again, as I've discussed in one of my previous streams, they're sort of banking on their Disney Plus content to get the momentum going again. But the DC universe in comparison, like, I don't even know where to begin. Like, in terms of Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, Suicide Squad, for fuck's sake. The film's so bad that it had to be completely rebooted and have James Gunn as the director. Like, I mean, James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy movies, they're great movies, and it'd be great for him to inject a bit of energy from that into the new Suicide Squad movie. But like with Guardians of the Galaxy, yeah, you have what, 4 or 5 characters to, you know, banter off each other. But with the Suicide Squad, with the list of cast members on the cast sheet, like, I mean, good luck with pacing and giving equal amounts of character development to um, all the characters, which is exactly the downfall of the original Suicide Squad movie. So yeah, I don't know what else to say on that other than I mean, it's an admirable task, but not exactly confident, to be perfectly honest. But that's just me. I guess the point I'm really making is that um, superhero fatigue is the thing. Like people had Marvel fatigue, like DC fatigue. I think it's more so the fact that there's kind of less interest, to be honest, and they were rushing things far too much to be at the same pace as Marvel. So I don't know, it's kind of backfired on them in a way. And what with the whole, I know there was controversy about Amber Heard reappearing in Aquaman 2 after the whole scandal and shitstorm that was, you know, the sort of tumultuous relationship between her and Johnny Depp, in which, you know, Johnny Depp was fired and replaced in the Fantastic Beast movies, and oh yeah, I've just remembered now who replaced him. Mads Mikkelsen, wasn't it? Who is now going to play Grindelwald in those films. Like, yeah, nothing against Mads Mikkelsen. He's a decent enough actor, and but he's certainly a sellout in those Carlsberg adverts, isn't he? But it's just this whole cancel culture phenomenon that it's relentless, if I'm being honest. But anyway, Amber Heard, to my knowledge anyway, there hasn't been any talks of her getting pulled from Aquaman 2, despite the fact it has been revealed that, you know, she was hardly innocent in what transpired over the course of the relationship, and the leaked tapes and stuff that have been brought to the fore. But oh, I don't know, crushing the patriarchy. Yes, Queen. Oh, it never ends. And yeah, like, not much else to say really about 2021. I mean, yeah, we've made it to, you know, the end of the first day, so that's something, I guess. Bit of a nihilistic outlook on it, but it's just, you get so jaded after, particularly after 2020, that goes without saying, but trying to maintain optimism. And, you know, there was a meme going around saying, I find it funny how nobody is saying, oh, 2021 will be my year. Because, yeah, like, we're not out of the woods yet. We're really not. Like, yeah, there's always, you know, celebration and novelty to the fact, oh yeah, another year. What's your resolution this year? Not that I necessarily do resolutions myself, but just I suppose not get too reactive, because I was a ball of nerves during 2020. But that's me, really. Yeah. Oh, nice, light-hearted, wholesome stream. Um, Feel free to comment in the live chat if you want. I welcome your input. Whether you want to um, criticise me or take the piss out of me, or you know, add to the conversation, you're more than welcome. But I'll just continue talking out of my arse if you want. Um, but yeah, like even the background I chose for the stream, uh, like I'm just thinking, is that going to be an accurate depiction of what awaits us further down the line? Plus, oh god, you have to keep a level head. Stuff as tough as it is, it's not to paraphrase the governmental leaders and things like that, or to sound too preachy, but we're all in this together. Or at least I hope we are. There's not any more major division, us versus them. But it's just, it gets to a point where you get skeptical of the whole thing, because like I've followed the guidelines to the letter, and kept socially distant, haven't gone to parties, haven't done any of that, done everything digitally, and at the same time, like, I'm super skeptical about so much of this, and particularly when you have, again, a little bit of rehash what I've said from a previous stream, but with the likes of the World Economic Forum and the Great Reset, which the mainstream elite have sort of ridiculed people for pointing that out. Oh, it's just a conspiracy theory. It was on the cover of Time magazine. Klaus Schwab wrote a fucking book about it. Like, the plans are out there. It's not a conspiracy. And like they had a video talking about their end game that was up on the World Economic Forum Twitter page for 4 years until they got traction, and it got removed. So, like, I don't know, the folks at the top of their ivory tower thinking what's best for us plebs. I have a bad feeling about this. I really do. Oh god. It's not all doom and gloom. I keep trying to tell myself that, but here I am. This feels like I'm just talking into the void here. It feels like an extended therapy session, but that's been interesting. It has been an interesting 9 or 10 months. But I'm just hoping that, well, again, this is kind of wishful thinking, but 2021 will give us a bit more optimism. And I think that's the end of my sermon for today. Yeah, look, there's so much going through my head, and yeah, I mean, this isn't necessarily the best outlet in a lot of ways, but it's just, you need some form of catharsis, I think. But yeah, that is that's what I have to say on the whole thing. Um, that we're not in the woods. We're not out of the woods yet. We shouldn't get too complacent over the vaccine and stuff like that. And I'm not an anti-vaxxer by any stretch, but it's not going to be the what takes us out of this. Don't be complacent and just keep an eye on things. But yeah, that's my ramble. As I said, that's my sermon, and I think I will leave it at that. But yeah, listen. Thank you for watching, and yeah, I'll don't know if I might continue streaming for the time being. I had ideas to do game streaming. I did a test run playing Persona 4 on a live stream, but the specs of my computer are shite, so that didn't exactly work out, and the frame rate was just abysmal. So I don't know, put a pin in the idea of game streaming for the time being, but yeah, I don't know. That's I'll sort of reconsider how I frame these streams and my content in the future, but I don't know. The TLDR of this whole thing is there's a lot going on, and I will probably come back to express my views and thoughts on it within YouTube's terms of service, of course. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I know the format maybe seem a bit tedious, but that's just me bringing my thoughts out there. But again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next stream. See ya.